This content is not suitable for persons under 13 years of age.
Bots and bits. Bots and bits.
Yeah, mate.
You have failed.
No. Warm. Hello, Bots and Bits fans, welcome back. Today we're taking a good look at the Lemon Tree Purple Potato. Sounds like a dodgy URL from the early 2000s, but probably more of a Google Translate goof. Now, before we get right into the details, as usual, I bought this guy from ShowZstore.com. They shipped this out to me super fast. I reckon it was about 9 days to Australia. The price was pretty good. Last time I checked, they had plenty in stock. So if you're interested in picking this up, I highly recommend you head over there and take a look. You didn't want to see the box, right? It's purple. Now, before we get into all of the details, let's just bring in some size comparisons. Right, so there he is with my favourite shockwave, and that's the Cloud9 Quake Blast. It looks menacing and evil, it's perfect. But this guy, yeah, he's doing it for me, I think. He's doing it for me. And then there's Megatron and Prime. Happy? Happy. Magic hand wipe.
Insignificant human, subscribe to this channel immediately.
So aesthetically, this guy ticks a couple of boxes for me. One, he has a fantastic animation style shape to him. Really dig that. But he also has a lot of complex details that carry over into the ship mode. So instead of looking all shiny and bare panelled like, say, the Masterpiece Shockwave, there are a lot of flat purple wide surfaces, but they're broken up really nicely with panel lining and cracks in transformation joints and panels that split open and close. Now the back tidies up pretty well considering what they were working with, but then when it comes down to the back of the shins and the back of the knees, that's a real mess. That is... that is not good. Not good at all. I mean, they did alright considering how the transformation works. I guess if they had to sacrifice something, then this will do, I guess. Now, paint-wise, Purple Potato doesn't really have much going on. It's mostly just cast purple and grey plastic, with a mix of die-cast in the elbows, knees, and feet. On his shins, he has some purple sort of gunmetal paint on the front there. Same on the upper shoulders. He's got a little bit of red paint in the tip of his shoulders. And he's got some silver paint up on his turbines, which is done powdery and a little bit messy. He has this awesome clear purple and silver chest detail, which I absolutely love. Looks fantastic. One problem though, behind the plastic, it's filthy.
Filthy, like an old shoe.
It is dirty and a mess, and I'm not sure how I'm going to go about cleaning that. It's such a focal point of his body, and it looks dirty. And then we have bright pink for the cockpit, which is in his abdomen. Now this is done terribly. I've got a window frame on one side, and on the other side it's been painted over. And I can't tell if this is pink spillage, or if it's plastic flash, or some sort of warped plastic. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. A clear bit of pink plastic would have been better off here, or even just a solid piece of plastic just to slot in. It wouldn't have taken much to do that, and it would have looked a million times better. Plastic quality overall feels pretty good. It has a matte finish to it. I've flipped this back and forth already, and it did hold up pretty well. I've got a couple of stress marks on in some weird places, mostly to do with the peg holes underneath the chest where the abdomen tabs in. The clearance on these is just terrible. The pegs do not fit in properly. So I jammed a screwdriver head in there and just sheared away a little bit of plastic to get it to fit properly, but not before trying to cram it together and causing a couple of stress marks. One other issue in bot mode I have is the tabs holding the top of the head shut. They don't tab in properly at all. They sort of spring up a little bit, and then whenever you move the head, you inadvertently open the head up, exposing the batteries. Now, accessory-wise, this guy actually has a lot more than I expected. So as you can see here, comes with a half-decent flight stand, which we'll look into later. He also comes with 2 hand-replacing cannons, which go on pretty easily like this. He also comes with this silver spring, which is really what these are live one. He's super floppy, and that attaches to the hand cannon like this. using this other accessory, this little purple plug. It attaches to the turbine like this. We also get some neat little blast effects, which just peg together. A cool thing about the engine blast effects that you get is that they will fit in his gun nozzle in any configuration you want them. So little blast, flower blast, or the complete blast. A magnetic switch to turn the lights on and off. There we go. Just around the rim to make it light up. And then if I add the blast effect, the effect itself doesn't really light up. Hang on, let's just get rid of these lights. Yeah, nah. We also get a pair of long spikes that just plug into the top of his turbines like that. And this little purple gizmo that you put a short spike into and then plug in just right here underneath the wrist. And there you get in there. And there you go. And then the final accessory, we get these little plastic screw hole covers. I did have 3 of them. They've just disappeared. They are so little. These screw hole covers are to cover screws in the shuttle mode. Get in. Oh my god. It's gone. It's now, articulation wise, the potato has heaps going for him. Full range of motion on the head, which looks fantastic. Super strong ratcheted shoulders with a really convincing butterfly. Die-cast elbows that are nice and stiff with a good wrist swivel. Articulated hands, which feel great, but I think I mentioned previously that my pinky finger on one hand has fallen off and is quite loose now. Single ratchet click for the ab crunch with an ab swivel. Ratcheted hips, which are not overly strong but will hold pretty well. And these super strong, very loud, clicky die-cast ratcheted knees, which sound great and are really strong. Plenty of motion here in the feet, but the problem I'm having with the feet is the forward and back has almost no resistance at all. So if you pose him kinda off, mine does tumble. And the only thing stopping him from falling forward is the fact that these shin panels are actually resting on the feet. So it's stopping him going forward anymore, because these ankles forward and back are just, they are useless. They are absolutely useless. Look, I know I've ragged on some of his flaws a little bit in this review. Look, I do really love the bot mode. I think it looks fantastic. I think it's insanely well articulated. And I think the joints are really, really good, with the exception of the ankles. Mine suck. But I do really love the bot mode, alright? There are quite a few flaws in this bot mode that feel amateurish. I'm not sure who the original studio is behind making this, but some of these mistakes do seem like amateur mistakes. Anyway, that's enough on that. Let's get into the transformation.
Like a system error. like a system error.
So there it is all done, and I'll tell you what, it does look beautiful. It looks spot on. It looks fantastic. That transformation, fuck me dead. I am not a fan of that transformation. That was not fun or enjoyable at all. This whole section, my god, I knew what to do and it was still fucked. The orientation of the feet inside are really, really finicky, really hard to get in the correct spot to have this top section close, and this, see, even this bottom section isn't closing all the way, because these little hooks, these tabs, they don't really tab in particularly well. They're just sort of like holding on just a little bit. It's not an actual secure connection. Once it is all lined up properly though, this section here should tab into the top really, really easily. But the first time I did it and I didn't have this done particularly well, that I was like forcing them together and trying to get it in, but that's just gone in. That's gone in fine now that I've got it all lined up properly. But yeah, there it is. It doesn't really do much. It just sort of sits there and wobbles. That is a that is a terrible stand. It looks like it's meant to double as something else. Like it has some other purpose or so. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's just a wobble stand. Now, details wise, all of those broken up panels and panel lining in the robot mode translate beautifully over to the ship mode. There isn't a single spot on this guy that looks boring, which is good news because the entire thing is basically one color. Now, the light up engines were an okay idea, but I'm finding that the LEDs are using a ton of power and my batteries are actually going flat when it's off. I thought they had stopped working altogether, but I've been filming this for about an hour with the lights going on and off for that hour, and now this one is pretty dull. You can't even really notice it. I'll switch off some lights so we can get a good look. Yeah, see that one's barely illuminating, and this one was 2 fresh batteries about half an hour ago. Maybe the batteries I bought were shit. They are just some like $2 shop multi-pack. These were probably packaged 5 years ago, so my batteries might just suck. But it is just something I've noticed, and I haven't really had this problem with those batteries in other figures. I do like light up gimmicks, but I find once I use them a couple of times, I either forget about them or I take the batteries out because I don't want them to corrode. But that's up to you. Electronic gimmicks are fun, but only for a little bit. Alright, so final thoughts wise, is it worth it and should you buy it? Yeah. Even though some of the engineering and some of the presentation on this is what I would say amateurish, I still think this is worth the purchase. And thankfully, ShowZ Store have a second batch in stock, ready to go. There are minimal paint apps on this guy, and they're mostly done pretty well. The details are fantastic. The line work and the panel work in this complement both modes perfectly, in my opinion. In bot mode, the articulation is fantastic. All of these ratchets, all of these joints are brilliant. I'm really happy with how strong they are, how loud they click, and pretty much everything about it, except the feet, which are fucking useless. Mine are just terrible. Your mileage may vary, obviously. I may have just got a bad one. But apart from that, bot mode, very difficult to fault. When it comes to gimmicks, the magnetic LEDs, why? It seems like a waste of effort. Just put a button in next time. I don't know if this will be my masterpiece Shockwave because I'm thinking I'm probably going to display it in shit mode now. So I do recommend that you go out and buy this if you're a fan of the movie or Galvatron in general. And that's it. Now if you enjoyed this video and like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe to my channel. Remember to check out my Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. There's also the webpage www.botsandbits.net for all your bots and bitty news.